welcome back to Megan Haskell's Book Club. Today we are going to continue our reading of Aether Bound, The Rise of Lilith, Book 1. And we'll be reading Chapter 8 today. So we are on Chapter 8. Hard to believe. Well, there's 42 chapters in the book, I think. I remember 43. 43 chapters in the book. So, we got a ways to go. All right. Okay. Chapter 8. As we walked back to the Trident, Gabby paused to put a hand on my arm and pulled me to the side. Please don't tell anyone I had a panic attack. I don't want them to know I nearly walked fully clothed into the ocean. Not a problem. I could keep a secret. If she only knew. Thanks, she squeezed my arm. Really, for everything. Of course. How did you find me anyway? She asked. I paused, heart racing. What was I going to say? You were actually possessed by a demon that only I can see, and I followed you to the ocean because it reminded me of a sea creature? I mean, I guess that could have worked, if I didn't mind being sent back to the loony bin. Just a hunch, I guess, I shrugged, trying to keep my facial expression nonchalant. I wasn't good at it. Luckily, we had arrived at the back door by that point. Only one person on break at a time, Ty practically shouted as soon as we entered the room. I glanced around the near empty space. Ezra was whirling around the floor, dancing with Tempest to the mix playing on the overheads, and Surfer Jeff was still sitting by himself at the end of the bar. Couldn't handle the rush? I've had to take a leak for the last 20 minutes, Ty replied, dashing around the end of the bar and rushing past us toward the restrooms at the back. I grinned, but headed toward the sound system to change the music. If Ezra wanted to dance, I'd give him a better song than the 80s nostalgia playlist that Chaz, our owner, had set up. The early aughts were more our style. A little poker face seemed appropriate. Ezra spun his chair, popping it up on two wheels and grinning in my direction. Not Lady Gaga. He'd never admit it to anyone but me, but he had that album on repeat for months. I shot him 2 thumbs up and got back to work. By midnight, Jeff had left, Gabby had gone home with a headache. I didn't blame her, and it was only me, Ty, Ezra, and Tempest left in the bar. Time to close up shop. I cashed out the registers while Ty wiped down the tables and flipped the chairs on top. 12, 27, 14, 138, Ezra spouted off numbers, intentionally interrupting my count. Damn it, Ezra, now I have to start over. The little turd grinned. Want to spot me on a swim tomorrow? I thought we were going on a run. Tempest has a boat. She lives on it, in fact. She's offered to give me some time in the real water to practice fighting the waves. The pool only takes me so far. If I want to place this time, I need more hours in the ocean. But I can take you on a run after, so long as we stick to pavement. I'll use the racing chair, not the hand cycle. Like that makes a difference. The racing chair wasn't quite as fast as the hand cycle, but it could still go faster than 15 miles an hour. It'll be a recovery ride. I won't race you. I rolled my eyes. Thank the Lord for small mercies. Come on, what do you say? A little morning on the water and an afternoon run before work. It'll be relaxing. With you around? I don't think so. Ezra pulled himself up a bit onto the counter to lean toward me. Come on, sis. I need the practice, and things are going really well with Tempest. I don't want to miss this opportunity. I glanced up at the blonde, who was waiting for him by the front door. She held a hairband between her teeth as she pulled her hair into a perfect, bouncy ponytail. I couldn't mess this up for him. How about I take a recovery day myself? I'll sleep in, and you can go out with your special lady friend without me. Ezra tapped his knuckles on the wood as he slid back in his chair. I knew you'd understand. Just be careful, okay? Make sure she's got flotation for you, just in case. She used to be a lifeguard. It won't be a problem. Of course she was. The woman was truly his perfect match. I'll come by after, in case you change your mind about the run. I won't. I might be able to convince you. I lifted a single eyebrow in disbelief. You've never changed my mind. You've just bullied me until I gave in. Ezra waffled his hand from side to side. Tomato, tomato. See you tomorrow. He twisted his chair around and met up with Tempest. Shall we? I rolled my eyes again and returned to counting the register. I woke up just after noon the next day and threw on some running clothes. I knew my brother. He'd be here after his swim, as promised, and I wouldn't be able to wiggle my way out of the attempt to turn me into an athlete. As if. Still, he wasn't entirely wrong. I'd only managed a semester and a half of college before dropping out, but even in that short span of time, I'd managed to gain the dreaded freshman 15. It wasn't as if I knew how to cook anything other than mac and cheese at the time, and let's be real, my cooking skills hadn't improved much over the years. Compound that with a shot here and there at work and a few beers after, and the only thing between me and becoming that big old round gal was a 28-year-old metabolism and Ezra's training regimen. Unfortunately, the prospect of a run didn't look so good after all. After pulling open the blackout curtains that protected my sensitive night owl eyes from the Southern California morning sun, I realized there wasn't much need for them today. Everything was gray and overcast. Dark clouds hung heavy in the sky. As I watched, a few big drops of rain fell on paving stones of courtyard, and a roll of thunder boomed in the distance. Ezra. He wouldn't be out on the water in this, would he? He would have checked the weather, known it was coming. He was responsible, intelligent. More drops fell. Another loud boom. What the hell? We didn't get storms like this in June in Southern California. We rarely got storms like this at all. That's why everyone wanted to move here, and tiny studio apartments cost $1 bazillion a month. Racing back to the phone charging on my nightstand, I called Ezra. Please pick up, I prayed as the phone rang. Voicemail. Ezra, you better not be out on the water. When you get this, call me. I hung up, my gaze returning to the storm, now in full rage outside. I didn't know where Tempest's boat was moored. It could have been Dana Point or Newport Beach. Hell, it could have been Long Beach or San Diego, for all I knew. Ezra hadn't said where they were leaving from. He'd only asked me to spot him. I wished I had. If I'd gone with them, maybe they wouldn't have left before the storm. I was always late, after all. They would have had to wait for me. It would have delayed them. As it was, they had probably gone out before the clouds rolled in. No, I couldn't think like that. They had stayed out late last night, too. Even Energizer Bunny Ezra would be tired. At least a little. They would have seen the forecasts. I tried to bury my anxiety by making a coffee. I went all fancy and hand ground the beans before using the pour-over Chemex, if only because it was time-intensive. Despite that, I couldn't keep my gaze from drifting back to the window between every addition of water to the filter. The storm was getting worse. I couldn't believe my eyes. The rain was so heavy, the drains in the middle of the patio were backed up and overflowing. The plastic communal furniture the landlord had set up was knee-deep in water. The gutters on the building opposite my apartment were overflowing, the water falling from the edges as if they weren't there at all. It was like Thor was emptying buckets from the clouds. No, that wasn't right. Thor was the god of thunder, not rain. Well, whoever controlled the rain was taking vengeance on our poor little beach town. At least the drought would be over, or something. Ezra still hadn't called. I tried him again. No luck. I checked the weather app on my phone. Oddly, it listed us as scheduled for sun all day. No chance of rain. I refreshed the app just in case it wasn't capturing the current conditions. It still said sunny, 74 degrees, no precipitation. What the hell? Besides Ezra, I only had a few phone numbers in my cell. I wasn't about to call my father. He and his new wife lived in Newport, but that might as well have been the moon as far as I was concerned. Even if he knew that Ezra had gone out today, he wouldn't know any more than I did. No, that's not true. He might have known which harbor they had left from, or if they had left at all. Damn it, I was going to have to call my father. I really didn't want to. I blew out a breath and tapped my dad's name. The phone started ringing. My father was a doctor in Newport Beach. Like most surgeons, he was always calm and serious, always practical. He believed only what could be proven or explained by science. A philosophy that was probably good in medicine, but not great when confronted with a wife and daughter who could see the spiritual influences on people. Why he'd married my eccentric, erratic mother in the first place, I'd never know. I just chalked it up to youthful rebellion or escapism or something. It didn't really matter. After Mom died, my father receded even more from our lives. He already worked long hours at the hospital, but after that, he practically lived there. At first, we all did. Ezra had to suffer through multiple surgeries as my father brought in every specialist he knew to assess my brother's broken spine. But even then, Dad only visited when absolutely necessary. I was in the room with Ezra every day and only went home when Aunt Donna forced me to. She was the one who outed me. I probably had it coming. I mean, I was a kid who could suddenly see the crazy demons wrapped up in people's lives. At first, I had no idea what I was seeing. I thought I was hallucinating. Aunt Donna agreed with me. She saw the same things in me that she had seen in my mother. She'd never liked my mother. That summer was miserable. Between my own injury, Ezra's surgeries, Aunt Donna's sniping, and my father's absence, I couldn't wait to go back to school. The irony of what came next wasn't lost on me. Hello? My dad's voice came on the line. Have you seen or heard from Ezra today? I asked, not bothering with introductions or pleasantries. He had caller ID on his phone, just like every other human being on the planet, and I wasn't calling to kiss and make up. He could kiss it as far as I was concerned. Lil? Have you heard or seen from Ezra? I spoke slowly, intentionally. It's a simple question. Maybe that was a touch on the rude side, but this man had very nearly destroyed my life, just like he'd destroyed my mother's. No, why? Never mind. Thanks for nothing, I replied. I took the phone from my ear, my thumb ready to tap the red button when I heard his tinny voice. Lil, wait, please talk to me. Just for a minute. I have nothing to say to you. Never have. I couldn't help but reply. It was a character flaw, I supposed. It would be so much easier if I could just let things be, but I liked to have the last word. What's going on? Is Ezra okay? At least he'd asked a sensible question. I don't know. He was planning an ocean swim today, but with the storm, I don't know if he went out or not. I can't get a hold of him. Storm? Was the man blind? Yeah, the storm. The buckets of water falling from the sky, thunder raging across the coast. I haven't seen a storm this bad ever. It's sunny and 72, hardly a breeze off the water. That's not possible. I lived only a few miles down the coast. The weather couldn't be that different between here and there. Lil, should I send someone over? I snorted. The man couldn't even be bothered to check on my mental state himself. Not that I needed it. I'd long since mastered my ability to hide my abilities. And this time, I knew I wasn't crazy. I snapped a picture and sent it to him. Happy? I paused for half a beat and listened to his sudden intake of breath. I'm not seeing things. I'm not making it up. I'm not telling stories. And you know what? Even if I were, you couldn't do anything about it. I'm an adult and you can't force me into therapy anymore. I hung up the phone, fuming. I knew I sounded like a petulant child, but I didn't care. How dare that man question what I was seeing right out my own window? This was why I refused to visit him, why I hadn't been home since the day I'd left the institute, why I hadn't taken a dime from his pocket. I'd earned my own damn way. Thank you very much. I forced my hands to stop shaking long enough to take a sip out of my favorite coffee mug, the one that had Crazy Leica emblazoned across the side with a cartoon of a mischievous, grinning fox to finish the sentence. Ezra had bought it for me while I was still in the institute. The guards, therapists, had thought it inappropriate, but I threw enough of a fuss that I got to keep it. I'd treasured it ever since. Another boom echoed off the buildings. I tried Ezra again. Still nothing. End of chapter 8. Thank you again so much for listening. If you would like your very own Crazy Like a Cartoon Fox mug, you can go to my website at meganhaskell.com and order your own. They're cute and lots of fun, I think. Anyway, until next time, make sure you like and subscribe and hit the little bell and do all the YouTubey things. And I'll be back next week with chapter 9.